We'll get started in about 1 minute here. The first thing we'll do after I'll go over the schedule and everything in introductions um, will be some movement. So if you have some space around you, you might look around to see if you have just enough space to stand up and kind of move your arms a little. There will be some light stretching, and there'll be modifications for anything. If your body feels unable to do any of these, feel free to skip anything I do. Everything's opt in, opt out. So we're just really taking care of our bodies and doing what's right for us. And there's always the invitation to just take a seat or lie down, drink some water, take some deep breaths instead of any of the movements. But with that, we'll begin. Thank you so much for being here today, everybody. My name's Eli. I'm happy to be here with another virtual Spring Mind Body workshop. This will be recorded, but just my screen, so none of you will be on the recording. And if you like to turn your cameras on or off at any time, that's okay as well. It's up to you. You can also type in the chat if you have any questions, and I'll try to be looking at my computer as well so I can see that. Today we'll be celebrating Ohigan, which means to the other shore, crossing to the other shore. We are celebrating the equinox and observing the ways in which we shift out of winter into spring. We're moving towards sunlight. We're moving in the fall equinox. We're kind of always, fortifying our body and getting ready for the snow. And I feel like in the spring equinox, we're just letting go, right? We're knowing that we made it through another winter. We got through the stillness, we found some more deepness, and now we can shake a little bit of that off and find a little levity, get ready to sit with the busyness that comes with summer, right? All those different things that come in, and really just be able to, welcome Cynthia, really just be able to harness the life that's blooming around us, right? We'll see the trees come back. We'll see maybe some people are in places where there are still trees that are alive, but in Chicago, we'll see life come back to the city, and it feels that 1 week of actual spring that we get feels so alive. Everybody's outside and happy and smiling, and everybody's knees are out again. So hopefully we can get that energy together and start that by observing the equinox, which is tomorrow. So we'll prepare ourselves for that today. Um, I'll go over the schedule a little bit. We'll start with some movement from a system called Doinho. It's really something I grew up doing in Aikido, and this arrangement of it they do at the Zen monastery I train at, this order. But we've done it. It's so nice. I have the same Aikido lineage as the abbot of that monastery, so all the things they do, I've grown up doing. It feels really nice to have those practices come back and be able to share them with you again. We will do that for a little bit, then we'll do our first sit, about 10 minutes, seated. You can lay down if you'd like, but I'll be seated and giving seated instructions. Then we'll chant together. I'll share that on my screen. If you are new to chanting, feel free to listen along. Feel free to listen and join in whenever you'd like. You're all on mute, so you can chant as loud as you want, as differently as you want, and just really feel it. The invitation is to, as Ogui sensei used to say, chant with your ears, right? It's more about being together than about getting it right. Then we'll do one more short sit and then learn a self-massage sequence to kind of calm the body down, relax, get some ease. And we'll end with a Dharma Talk by Reverend Todd, who's graciously agreed to give us a talk today. So we'll listen to his words after we have kind of calmed and prepared our body. And then we'll just do some checkouts. If anybody would like to say hi, give feedback, share anything that comes up for them, we'll have space for that at the end as well. So go ahead and get nice and comfortable. I'm just going to move my camera so that you guys can see me standing. Maybe take a few sips of water if you'd like, and we'll do a little gentle movement. Hi, everybody. So If you'd like to be in a standing position, that is how I will be doing these. You can also do these from seated with just some modifications, or some you would have to just take some deep breaths from. But I invite you to stand. If you feel like turning your camera off or on, go for it. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to be watching you. They're going to be trying to figure this out. So we'll start by just interlacing the fingers, pushing down, and then we'll take a deep breath in and let your fingers stretch up over your head. Let them release. And we'll do that one more time. Interlace your fingers, pressing down, stretch up, breathing in, and then we'll just dip our hands down to one side and look the other way. So we'll gently stretch the neck and hands, going from one side to the other. Neck and shoulders. Moving slowly, minding our breath, and let the hands drop. Okay, so this next movement will be taking a deep breath in, raising our shoulders up, and we'll keep our eyes closed, and then we'll drop our shoulders, open the eyes, and breathe out. So we'll do that a few times in a row. We're going to make sure our knees aren't locked. When we drop our shoulders, I'm not pounding into the floor with my heels, right? I'm just letting this relax. So breathe in. Good. All right, the next thing we'll do is just gently swing the arms. So we'll be moving from the hips. So swing one way and the other. Letting the arms be relaxed, shoulders relaxed. Just get a gentle movement in the body. Try to keep the posture upright. If you're sitting, you can kind of just do this a little bit slowly on your lap. Still gets the same feeling. And slowly let them stop. Okay, the next one we'll do has two options. So I'll do this way. We're going to set our posture here, right? So we're trying to get nice and even. You can just do a little squat like that, right? Just bending the knees, breathing out. And then when you stand up, stretching the spine up. So just feeling that extension. So we'll squat down and then stretch into the spine. If you want, you could squat all the way down and then stretch into the spine. So either works. We're just setting into the posture, letting the sacrum drop, stretching up, down, and up. Okay. Continuing with the posture, we'll place our hands right here on our lower back. We'll bend our knees gently. And instead of thinking of crunching your back like that, right, your lower back, we're just going to imagine somebody stretching a string from the crown of our head up and back. So really just bend and extend up and out. Go to wherever's comfortable to you. We're not trying to find any pain today. Make sure you're breathing in and out. And then we're going to stand back up and let that float down into a forward fold. You can rest your hands on your thighs, knees, shins, or the floor, wherever you find comfort. Relax the neck and take a few breaths here. You can bend the knees slightly. And then slowly roll up vertebra by vertebra, making sure not to strain the back. And we'll place the hands on the center and simply rotate the neck clockwise first, I like to think of this as drawing a big circle, like a dinner plate, with my nose. So I don't go so far back that it hurts the cervical spine there. Just drawing a circle. And we'll switch directions. Okay, now if you're seated, just stay seated. But if you're standing, drop your knees down a little bit, and we'll roll our shoulders back one by one, really trying to make a big circle, stretching them out. If it feels good, you can do a full rotation with your hand like that, or you can just keep your shoulders. Either one's good. And feel your body. Listen to where it pops and cracks. And don't judge it. Just give it what it needs, whatever it's asking for. Okay, we'll do a little hip circles. These you just swivel in a hip, swivel in a circle, and the point isn't speed. The point isn't going really wide, right? My head's kind of staying relatively where it is. All I'm trying to do is make a smooth circle. So if there's a part where there's a little hitch, right? Maybe I take a moment to tend to that. I know my right hip's always a little tight, so sometimes I feel it there. Switch directions if you haven't already. And this one is called Windmill Rotations. The next one we'll put our hands together like we're in Gasho and stick them all the way out like this, right? And we'll bend the knees a little and we'll just go in a big circle. So we'll breathe in as we go one way, breathe out as you drop. Just like that. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Let your shoulders fully extend and just stretch the whole spine here, really. Okay, we'll do two more. We're skipping a few, but we'll do the core ones. Just knee circles. So same thing. Swivel the knees in a circle. I'm keeping my eyes relaxed, my vision spread out, right? My vision is not tensed or focused. We'll switch directions. If you're sitting in a chair, you might just grab the backs of your knees and fold forward a little bit, getting a little stretch there. Okay, and then the last one is kind of more of an energy stretch. We'll take our hands right above, above my head here. And I'm just shaking them lightly, right? And I should let my whole body relax so I feel this shake. My whole body starts to just move a little bit, generate some ki or energy. I drop my hands, and I'll do the same thing down here, letting them shake, really relaxing the shoulders. Take a deep breath in, and then let your hands slow down by half. Slow down by half of that. Even slower. Let them be still. Take a deep breath here. Okay, so that's most of the Do-and-Ho movement system. I invite you to take a little water break here, take a sip of water, and make your way to wherever you'd like to do your seated meditation today. Okay, I will open up with the Mokugyo. If we were at temple, I would be hitting the han in the back of the hondo, but today I'll have a little mini fish drum as our replacement, as we do in the virtual Zen Shin. So I'll hit a specific rhythm for that, and then I'll ring the bell, we'll bow together, and I'll give instructions for our sit. palms together at your heart. Bow. Place your hands on your knees and gently move your upper body from right to left, then forwards and back, finding your center point. Sit up through your center, spine softly straight. Sit down through your center, rooting into your chair, cushion, floor, rooting into the earth. You may place your hands in your lap, fingers overlapping and thumbs lightly touching, forming an oval. Find a spot on the floor several feet in front of you, and with your eyes half open and half closed, gently gaze out through that spot. Breathe in and out through the nose with the mouth closed. Breathing in, count 1, filling the belly and back with breath. Breathing out, count 2, breathing out the nose again. Continue counting your breaths like this until you reach 10, and then start again. If you lose your place, start again. Whatever thoughts, feelings, or sensations arise, simply find your breath and start again. Let them go. Whatever thoughts arise, whatever sensations persist, sit like a boulder in a rushing stream. The water comes, the water goes. Let your thoughts come, and let your thoughts go. Palms together at the heart. Bow. Take a moment to stretch. Take a sip of water if you need to. And we will move on to chanting. I'll be sharing my screen for the chants. Today we'll be doing, if you're someone who comes to Sunday morning Zen Shin, a little bit different number or order of chants today. We'll be adding in two other chants and taking some out for the Equinox. I figure now is the time to be able to experience different chants. So we'll start with the Heart Sutra, then we'll move into two from the Zen Shin Sutra book, and we'll end with a Shigu Segan, which is in the Zen Shin book, and Enmei Juku Kanongyo. That's a sutra that's actually in our Zen Shin Sutra book. We just don't often chant it in the temple, but it is I believe it translates to the 10-phrase life-prolonging Kanon Sutra, which is about the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva or wisdom being of compassion. And so to chant this sutra is to cultivate compassion for yourself, for others, and to really try to focus on that revitalizing spirit. So I added that one into our program today. So I'll go ahead and spotlight myself. and share my screen. We'll start with the Heart Sutra. Again, feel free to listen. It makes you feel comfortable. You can join in at any time. This is a sutra usually accompanied with a drum, but today I think through Zoom that might be too cacophonous, so we'll just have the bell. Makahanya haramita shingyo kanji wo sagyojin hanya haramita ji shokengo haiku doi saiku yakusha ishi shigifu iku kufu ishigi shigi soku zeku ku soku ze shigi ju so gyo shigi yaku bu nyo ze shari shi ze shohoku sofu shofu metsufu kufu jofu zofu genkai nai ze koku chu mu shiki mu ju so gyo shiki mu gen ni bi ze shin ni mu shiki shoko mi soku ho mu genkai nai shi mu i shiki kai mu mu myo yaku mu mu myo jin nai shi mu ro shi yaku mu ro shi jin mu ku shu setu mu do無知悪無意得意無償特攻菩薩パエ般若波羅蜜多行進無形下無形下公無無空不音理一切天道無足行名半三世成仏へ般若波羅蜜多高徳阿のくたら三脈三宝大高知般若波羅蜜多勢大神修勢大名修勢無常修勢無東道修の上一切空真実不空公説般若波羅蜜多収束説修圧やてやてあらやてあらそやておじそわたはんやしんよ。That was the Heart Sutra. And now we will do the 6 paramitas together, which is something that is traditional to focus on during the equinoxes, during Ohigan. This is from our Zen Shin Sutra book. 6 paramitas. Dana paramita. May I be generous and helpful. Sila paramita. May I be pure and virtuous. Kshanti paramita. May I be patient. May I be able to bear and forbear the wrongs of others. Virya paramita. May I be strenuous, energetic, and persevering. Dhyana paramita. May I practice meditation and attain concentration and oneness to serve all beings. Dhyana paramita. Prajna paramita. May I gain wisdom and be able to give the benefit of my wisdom to others. Okay. And our last one. We will do these two. This is Shigu Seigan in our sutra book. This is just a different sutra book that uses Shiku Seigan Mon, but same chant. We'll do this 3 times though today, and we'll be doing the chant I described earlier, and Meijuku Kanon Gyo 3 times as well. This will be a slower, shorter one, so if you're newer to chanting, this might be more accessible, and I'll do it 3 times, so you might hop in the second or third, or just listen along and breathe as well. Either is fine. Or do them all. Shigu Seigan. The invitation is to be in Gasho for these as well. Shujo muen Seigan no Ono mujin Seigan dan Homon muryo Seigan ga Utsudo mujo Seigan jo Shujo muen Seigan do Ono mujin Seigan dan Omon muryo Seigan ga Utsudo mujo Seigan jo Shujo muen Seigan do Mono mujin Seigan dan Omon muryo Seigan ga Utsudo mujo Seigan jo. Those are the 4 great vows for all. I don't remember the order exactly, but it's however innumerable all beings are, I vow to save them. However vast the Dharma teachings are, I vow to understand them. However long the path is, I vow to follow it. Basically, however expansive the Buddha Dharma is, I vow to master it or attain it. So it's a nice kind of going along the theme of compassion and trying to really think about vows and thinking about who we dedicate our life to, who we chant for, how we chant together. And we'll end with Enmei Juku Kanon Gyo. Kanze onna mu butsu yo butsu in yo butsu en buppo so en joraku ga jo chonen kanze onmo nen kanze onnen nen jushin ki nen nen furi shin kanze onna mu butsu yo butsu in yo butsu en buppo so en joraku ga jo chonen kanze onbo nen kanze onnen nen jushin ki nen nen furi shin kanze onna mu butsu yo butsu in yo butsu en buppo so en joraku ga jo chonen kanze onbo nen kanze onnen nen jushin ki nen nen furi shin. Take a moment to stretch out, take a sip of water, and we'll do our second sit together. palms together at the heart. Bow. Place your hands on your knees. And gently move the upper body from right to left, then forwards and back, finding your center point. Sit up through your center, spine softly straight. Sit down through your center, rooting into your chair, cushion, floor, rooting into the earth. Place your hands in your lap, fingers overlapping and thumbs lightly touching, forming an oval. Find your spot on the floor several feet in front of you, and with your eyes half open and half closed, gently gaze through that spot. Breathe in and out through the nose with the mouth closed. Breathing in, count 1, filling the belly and back with breath. Breathing out, count 2. Breathing out the nose again. Continue counting your breaths like this until you reach 10, and then start again. If you lose your place, start again. Whatever thoughts, feelings, or sensations arise, simply find your breath and start again. Let them go. Whatever thoughts arise, whatever sensations persist, sit like a mountain. Rain falls, wind blows, the earth shakes. The mountain remains. Palms together at the heart. Bow. Take a moment to stretch out. Take a sip of water. Stretch my legs. Okay. So hopefully we got some stillness there. We've been moving through, kind of waking up with motion, getting some stillness, putting some dynamic breath into our stillness with chanting in the middle there, bringing that into a new type of stillness or a new chance for stillness, opportunity to find it. We don't necessarily need to find it, but we had the chance. We gave ourselves that chance today. And now we will move into a kind of seated massage system. So we'll just be going from head to toe, checking in with our body, and just really giving ourselves a little healing or a little moment of cleansing and opportunity to work out anything that we find or just identify things in our body that might be feeling a way we're not paying attention to, right? It's so easy to let our bodies kind of float through the day without us. So hopefully today we're joining them as much as we can in that movement through the day. So we'll start just by rubbing our hands together, getting a little heat, and then take one hand and just make clockwise circles on the top of your head. If you have hair, you can use, your fingertips, either way, but just make a few gentle circles, warming, and then take both of your hands and gently massage the scalp. Any of the movements today can be gentle like this, just moving your hands. They can also be percussive. If you'd like to tap, that's also a great way to wake up the body system, whatever feels good to you and is accessible. And then we will take the thumbs and these two little spots right at the base of our scalp. We'll just give them a little massage back there, which can be kind of hot spots for tension. So we'll just massage them. And then we'll take our two fingers, nice and gentle, and we'll just massage kind of the eye sockets. So just running from the nose and running along the top of those cheekbones, massaging out towards the temple a few times, applying whatever amount of pressure feels nice to you. This is a really good sinus release also, if you have allergies. You can do a few of those along the eyebrow ridge, right along the top. Try to be mindful of your posture and your breathing as we do this. And then we will close our eyes and really gently, I'll move up here. Make gentle circles on the eyes, on the eyelids, obviously not pressing real hard, but I like to go just from the inside of my tear duct, moving little circles all the way out. So just massage the eyes very gently a few times. Okay. The next thing we'll do is massage the temples. So we'll take our fingers again, and you can also take the knuckles. If fingers feel hard, you can do the knuckles there, whatever is accessible to you, any kind of part of your body. Massage the temples in small circles and go all the way out to above your ear, tracing that line and coming back. So we'll massage all the way up. A few times. The next thing we'll do is rub and pull both ears. So I'll do it gently so that it doesn't sound crazy with my headphones, but you just rub your ears, keep your shoulders nice and relaxed. Get your ears warm, tug them a few times. And then we'll move down to the neck. So with this one, I'm going to just take my hand and grab my neck right here and just pull towards my spine. So as I do that, right, I'll look this direction and I'll turn my head straight. So it should naturally just slide off as I do that. I look, you can do both sides, turn and just pull the neck towards the spine. I give kind of a firm little cupped hand like this. And just resetting those SCM muscle groups that get so tight all the time, especially if we're looking at screens. And then we will massage just our neck down to our ear, or our ears down our neck. And again, this can be a percussive massage, or it can be just a nice gentle one. But this time we'll just reach across to the other side. So just one side at a time here, letting our shoulders relax, or doing a little tapping then we'll go down the arm. And when we do the arms, we'll go down the outside, up the center. Right? Down the outside, up the inside. Or you can also be, slowly checking in like this, if that feels good too. I never know the reason past this follows the yin and yang channels to do it outside then inside. They've explained it to me 1,000 times across my life. We'll switch sides starting up here. But I never remember past that. Somehow that agrees with our yin and yang channels. So you go down the outside of the arm, up the inside. And for the legs, when we do those, we'll switch it. Again, can be percussive if that feels good. And then we will massage both of our hands. So we'll take one hand, work the palms, just kind of rubbing. I like to start with this kind of meaty part. Just rub. Get the other side, the knife edge, and with your fingertips, you can be massaging in between the bones on the back of the hand. Really just gently checking in there, running your hands over the fingers a few times, the wrists if they feel like tending to. And we'll switch sides, working in on that other hand. Making sure we're breathing gently. Our posture is as comfortable as possible. Okay, then we will interlace the fingers and just roll the hands like this, loosening up the wrists, kind of making a figure eight of sorts. And go in the other direction. Then we will just grab the fingers and stretch down, keeping our shoulders down, stretching those tendons out. Switch. We'll take our hands and we'll just place them on our back like this, staying seated. I'm just moving so you can see. And we'll just rub from our kidneys down to our lower hips, kind of pushing some heat into the body, right? Make sure the shoulders don't get too tense as you do that. Just a few little vigorous rubs. We're kind of putting heat back into our liver, into our systems right there. Back here. Okay. And then we will massage the chest. Again, it can be gentle check-ins with the hands. It can be percussive, but we'll just do circles on one side, however that feels good to you. And then the other side. Then we will take our hands and we will just rub the sternum and solar plexus. So just that kind of cavity right in the top of your chest and the right at the top of your belly right there. Generating some heat, some compassion. We'll take that top hand, move it down to the hara, the center. So now we're rubbing the sternum and the belly. And then we'll take a few breaths. We'll find our solar plexus. So you'll have a little cavity right at the bottom of your chest. There's a xiphoid bone right there process. We're avoiding that, going farther down, a couple inches or so above our belly button, depending on our bodies. And we're just going to apply a little pressure there and take a couple deep breaths. So take a deep breath in. Let it out slow. See if your fingers can gently relax into that spot right there. Might feel a little pressure. We often body armor here, build up tension. So keep on breathing in. Breathe out. Let the hands sink a little. And then one more deep breath. This can be a great thing for posture reset, letting the sacrum drop, the lower back. And we'll slowly, not quickly, just slowly bring the hand out of that spot. letting the belly rest again. And now we will move to the legs. So if you're in a chair, you can just reach down, or if you're sitting, you can just pop one leg up, depending on your position. But we'll do the same thing, tapping or massaging the legs. This time the opposite way. So we'll start inside a little bit, and we'll come up the outside. Just tapping or gently massaging, right? You can check in with your whole quads, real slow. Check in with your shins and calves. This one, most of them I prefer percussive, but legs, I always like to really just kind of take my time checking in. And we'll switch. You can do the other leg. Just taking a moment to really connect with your body, right? Establish a connective touch and remind yourself of all the healing that is always at your fingertips, that we always can provide for ourselves. Okay, then we will take the foot. If you're in a chair and it's accessible to you, maybe you bring your foot up like this for you. But we'll just gently massage the foot, getting the bottom soles of the feet. Often there's a point right here in between, this is the arch, the ball of my foot. Right there can be a trigger point. Really put the thumbs in there and get some release. And get the bones on the back of the foot, the top, the toes. Hopefully your feet are clean. If not, maybe we'll wash our hands later. But either way, just get in there. And we'll do the other foot. Checking in with the tops of the feet, the little bones and toes, and the soles of the feet. Getting into those trigger points, arches, even the heels, really just stretching yourself out. Okay, then we will gently shake each foot and let it drop. The other one, gently shake it from the ankle, letting it really be loose here, as possible. And then let it drop. And we'll end this sequence by just placing the hands on the tanden, the belly, the hara, however you've learned it. Take a few gentle breaths, relaxing everything. Okay, now we'll have one final meditative exercise before we hear our Dharma Talk by Reverend Todd. This is called Nanso no Ho. So this is a visualization exercise. It's a mouthful. So be seated, be laying down, be comfortable, however you are. But I will describe just a process of relaxing, right? We just tapped in from head to toe, and now we're going to visually tap in from head to toe, really getting some healing into our bodies. As we sit, we're going to imagine like an egg-sized ball of clarified butter, right? Of ghee, of like this creamy kind of beautiful butter. It can be whatever color you want. It could be a bright orange, maybe a saffron, a gold, a yellow. But in your head, picture this egg-sized lump of melty butter and imagine what it smells like, right? It could smell like butter. It could smell like sage. It could smell like temple incense, grass, a fresh breeze. But whatever you have in your mind, let that ball rest right on the top of your head. As you sit, take a few deep breaths in and out. And imagine that ball slowly melting onto your scalp, warming. You're not worried about mess or dripping. Everything's contained. And as it melts down your scalp, it even penetrates through, melting into the scalp, surrounding the eyes, warming. And everywhere this substance goes, it seeks to heal and release. This magical, healing butter slowly fills your head, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the tongue, the neck. Imagine this healing substance dripping down, over, into the shoulders, and releasing little pockets of tension wherever it finds them. As you breathe in and out, let this butter travel down even farther, relaxing the chest, starting to fill the upper arms. As you breathe in, feel the lungs expand in all directions. And as you breathe out, imagine this butter pushing down even further, pushing out all the toxins, all the pain, all the tension as it moves and grounds down into your belly, perhaps swirling for a moment, releasing any tension in the lower back. Let it fill your forearms and hands, feeling warmth beneath the palms. And then let the butter travel even farther down into the hips and glutes, releasing the inner thighs if there's any tension built up there. Or if release is not accessible to you today, simply feeling the warmth and holding of this healing substance as it travels down the knees. Notice how you feel today, checking in without judgment, noting that pain can be an indicator of where we might direct our care. Let the butter push farther down into the calves, all the way to the soles of the feet. Let all that tension flood out through the soles of the feet, releasing, breathing in and out. Take a moment to imagine your lower half of your body in a bath of this substance that's now coating, filling your whole body. Let your energy ground down into that healing pool. And take a few breaths here. Completely filled with your own light. Okay. That's a visualization process called Nanso no Ho, which means like soft ointment meditation or melted butter meditation. And it's really nice for grounding the energetic systems, for falling asleep, for just kind of visualizing if that's how your brain works. It can be nice to visualize that kind of healing for ourselves and cultivate that. So thank you for participating in all of those different exercises with me today and traveling through these feelings. It's been so wonderful to kind of cultivate a calm for this equinox and to just start spring together and be able to really move into this season intentionally. It's always our hope to be marking the days intentionally, but it's easy to let them go by. So I will pass it over to Reverend Todd, who has a Dharma talk to share with us today, and we can listen to that. Thank you so much, Reverend Todd.
Thank you, Eli. I'm just going to share my screen here. So, yeah, thank you, Eli, for inviting me to speak today. As I thought about this theme of returning to the breath and body, to me, it's about going back to something we can count on, which is what we already have, something natural that's always been there for us, yet we often take it for granted. And, the breath and the body are like a foundation for us. Breath is life. And when we breathe, we're acknowledging our connection with all of life as we're sharing our air with all people, animals, and plants. So to me, returning to the breath and body is taking the time to pause and reflect, as Eli has mentioned, and to give ourselves space. It can be a means to restore, heal, and find ease. Returning also means that we've been there before, but our breath and body really is not the same breath and body from moment to moment. So what is it exactly that we're actually returning to? And to me, I think it's naturalness, our natural self or our true self, which is appropriate to consider during this time of the equinox when things in nature are more in balance. And yet, it's also not a static self, as it's always changing. All of us can really feel the impact of these uncertain and challenging times on our hearts and on our nervous systems. And while there are parts of our current situations that we cannot control, it doesn't mean that we're powerless. So when we're up against change, uncertainty, and stress, that finding that resilience by returning to the breath and body is really a wonderful way to remind ourselves of the natural world of interconnectedness and impermanence. So I'd like to read a poem for you, or share this poem with you, by an Austrian poet. The author's name is Rainer Maria Rilke. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And he's an Austrian poet from the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It's called "Let This Darkness Be a Bell Tower." Quiet friend who has come so far, feel how your breathing makes more space around you. Let this darkness be a bell tower, and you the bell. As you ring, what batters you becomes your strength. Move back and forth into the change. What is it like, such intensity of pain? If the drink is bitter, turn yourself to wine. In this uncontainable night, be the mystery at the crossroads of your senses, the meaning discovered there. And if the world has ceased to hear you, say to the silent earth, I flow. To the rushing water, speak, I am. So I chose this poem as I thought it was fitting for today's session, and it begins by recognizing how our breathing makes more space around us. And for me, the poem is telling us to take the burden that weighs on our shoulders and expand our view beyond the restrictions of our self-centered mind, really to make space around us. It's often quoted by the founder of Shin Buddhism, Shinran Shonin, the phrase, to turn bits of rubble into gold. And it speaks of resilience that can come from this transformative experience. And in the poem where it says, be the mystery at the crossroads of your senses, the meaning discovered there. I believe it's saying the solution is not something to know or figure out with our minds, but really with our heart. And to me, it's referring to the infinite, Amida Buddha, and hearing the call of Amida to the reality of life. And really to be who you are. And there's a naturalness, a flow like the rushing water of a stream. And in Shin Buddhism, where we say we are all embraced by the Buddha, we might think of the Buddha like we see in the pictures, but really it means to be sustained by life within all that is inconceivable. So our instincts drive us to always try to seek answers and conclusions, and our minds are always very, very active. If we can approach life with a sense of wonder, we can really open our hearts and minds to the dynamic unfolding of wisdom and compassion. And this is to live in naturalness, which is the continual transformation of our innermost being. So this is the Nembutsu path that Shinran followed, where our ordinary life is really the place of learning, practice, and awakening. So today we're recognizing the spring equinox. In the Jodo Shinshu tradition, we traditionally hold a service twice a year during each equinox called Ohigan, as Eli has mentioned. Higan means other shore, or the Pure Land, in contrast to this shore of the world of samsara, or worldly desires, or worldly existence. Higan is also translated in Sanskrit to paramita, which are the 6 perfections or Buddhist virtues. So it's typically a time where things are in balance and in harmony, not too hot or cold, days and nights are equal. The sun rises directly in the east, sets directly in the west, and it's a time of reflection when practitioners think about the harmony of nature and devote themselves to the realization of this harmony in our inner lives. And it's a perfect time to return to the breath and body. And there's a noticeable trend where there's more daylight. The temperature is warming up, the flowers and trees are sprouting and seemingly gaining new life. You know, this is in contrast to the autumnal equinox in September, where the days are really getting shorter, the temperature is getting cooler, it can be a feeling of decline. So even the term spring gives a sense of rejuvenation and fall gives a sense of decline. And this is really one way to look at the season, but really this is our projection of our human existence on nature. So there's 2 Japanese poems I want to share with you that maybe give us a little different perspective. The first is, they are falling here and there, they are fresh falling leaves just born from a tree. The other is, it's beautiful, flowers of falling leaves are blooming all over. So instead of thinking of falling leaves as the end of their lives, they're being born as a new life or rejuvenation. So Buddhism teaches us that our views are not absolute and clear. And if we can acknowledge that we interpret what we see through our own ego lens of understanding, we can come to see things differently through deep reflection. Amida Buddha, as a symbol of infinite wisdom unfolding as compassion, tries to awaken us and broaden our view with a more clear and flexible mind. I'm actually speaking to you from Minneapolis. I know there's a broad geographic representation of attendees today. So I'm calling in from Minneapolis, and I grew up in a suburb of Minneapolis called St. Louis Park. And one of my neighbors, actually, growing up while he's a little older than me, is the New York Times and writer Thomas Friedman. And he has a book that's called Thank You for Being Late, where he refers to self-reflecting in the pause. And he says, when there's a change in the pace of change in so many realms at once, just like what we're experiencing today, it's easy to get overwhelmed by it all. And we can feel depleted trying to keep up. Living in an exponential world can be very overwhelming. So in such a time, opting to pause and reflect rather than to panic or withdraw is really not a luxury or distraction, but really a necessity. And it's a way to better understand and engage productively with the world around you. So he says, when you press the pause button on a machine, it'll stop. When you press the pause button on human beings, that's when they start. And as you reflect, you start to rethink your assumptions, you start to reimagine what's possible, and most importantly, you start to reconnect with their most deeply held beliefs, so you can begin to reimagine your path. So the true nature of awakening that the Buddha taught is one of continual learning and growth. And every moment is an opportunity for self-discovery and for better understanding of the fullness of life and all its joys and sorrows. So we're becoming more fully human through all that we experience. From the very simple to extraordinary moments in our lives, we're being shown who we are and how we can be. And this is the sound of the universe, the voice of Amida Buddha calling to us just as we are. And just to be clear, especially for those of you who may not be familiar or newer to Shin Buddhism, when I refer to Amida Buddha, it's not a person or a divine omnipotent being who grants us things if we meet certain conditions. Really, Amida Buddha is the dynamic reality of infinite wisdom and compassion. And we give Amida anthropomorphic features to help us understand our relationship to ultimate reality. So that's the picture of the Amida Buddha statue in the Midwest Buddhist Temple worship space. In other words, Amida is the embodiment of the principle of infinite wisdom unfolding as compassion. And the way the world actually is, but we can't see it because of our blind passions, our egocentric self. So trying to find truth, really continually seeking it, is very elusive, while in reality, truth has always been there every step of the way. So truth is not to be grasped, but truth will grasp you. So returning to the naturalness of breath, or returning to balance and ease, making space around us, is something we always have access to. The breath is not something we have to seek or grasp. It's readily available. You know, science tells us abdominal breathing has health benefits. You know, Eli, in our sessions, talks about breathing from the belly and encourages oxygen exchange. It can be transformative and beneficial. That deep breathing from the diaphragm reinforces in the body and mind that we are safe. Infants really do it naturally. And I remember watching my son when he was an infant. As a parent, you tend to watch your kids breathe. And I can see his breathing with his belly going in and out. But it's when our calculating minds take over that moves us to this, from this natural state, and we tend to slip into that high, rapid chest breathing. And that just fuels our foolish minds, what we call in Jodo Shinshu our Bonbu nature, which is often a more anxious state. So the idea of seeking is what Shinran discovered along his spiritual journey. He taught us that the world of enlightenment was not something to be reached or grasped, but rather something that we receive and encounter every single moment of our lives. And it's there for us if we can just allow it to occur. So if we can pause and reflect, return to the breath and body, giving ourselves space like we're doing today with Eli's guidance, it really gives us the opportunity to connect, to be together, and find a little ease